With this energy of listen, this person is definitely tuning into their internal guidance as far as you are concerned. This is somebody that might have feared the intensity of feelings that came on for you very suddenly and very strong. This could be somebody like a coworker that has a crush on you, or a friend that has now kind of caught romantic feelings, or even someone that you met and you started talking to, you started dating with kind of the intention of, let's see if this could lead to something romantically speaking, and they didn't expect that they would fall for you as quickly as they did or as deeply as they did. And so this is somebody that knows that it's like now or never. If they take too much of a time to kind of like pause or to reflect, or if they give even kind of like the slightest bit of attention to some layer of hesitation that had come up alongside the intensity of the feelings that have risen for you, then there's a sense that they know they're going to miss the door of opportunity. It's going to slam shut, or it's going to cause them to kind of stumble in terms of their momentum with you, the rapport you have with one another up to this point in time. This is somebody that may anticipate that you're very psychic, you're very sensitive, you're very attuned to energy. You're the type of person that kind of like your energy and your boundaries speak for themselves, that you require clear, honest, and direct communication. And anything that kind of like messes with that, you're very kind of like quick to sort of take a step back. This can also be something where, especially if this is like a friend or somebody that has known you in more of like a platonic capacity, they may have some understanding of like what you've been through in love in the past. And they may sense like, yeah, you're at a point in your life when you'd be open to the possibility of love again or connection again. But I know a little bit about what you've been through. And so it wouldn't surprise me if kind of like that hurt, that heartbreak, that disappointment, that relationship or series of relationships that you had experienced in the past, or people that you dated or you tried to get to know, maybe you were catfished, or you found out that you were kind of like dealing with somebody that only was just looking to kind of like juggle you amongst many other options, and things like that, where you've had your own sort of like series of disappointments, that this person sort of feels like, if I don't come correct in this situation, if I don't come towards you from this point moving on with like an openness of heart and like a willingness to be honest emotionally, you're something where like your own kind of like wounded nature, the wounded warrior within you, is going to be quick to swoop you away out of this situation, or is going to be quick to kind of like put me through the gauntlet, put me through a series of tests and challenges that would make it kind of like more heavy lifting than there needs to be, or like harder work, in order to kind of build what should be a very kind of like beautiful experience of easing into the next phase of your connection, easing forward into like a deepening of your bond with one another. So this is somebody that is putting a lot of effort at this point in time and kind of like silencing that voice of fear within them. This is somebody that is trying to just kind of like keep their eye on the prize, trying to keep sight of the fact that like, yeah, these feelings that I have surfaced. They're very intense. I don't quite know what to do about them, but I need to keep charging forward. I need to keep moving in the direction of where my heart has guided me, which is this particular space and time with you right now. We also have take stock of your achievements. So this is the energy of like birds of a feather. This person feels that like you're very well matched with one another. This is something where it might even be that like the foundation of friendship that you have laid with each other, or something that they've been more of like a casual kind of participant in your life, or again like a coworker that has a crush, something in that capacity. This isn't something that they look at as a challenge, kind of like, oh no, I don't know if taking a step in romance is a good idea, because what if we don't work out romantically, and then is it going to interfere with this other kind of like thing that we have going on, like we work really well as friends, or we work really well as coworkers, but maybe that's the limit, maybe that's kind of the boundary between the two of us that shouldn't be crossed. That is not their mindset. This is something where they're actually kind of gaining a source of like strength and encouragement for themselves on the fact of like, yeah, we've got this strong connection, or we vibe really well, we work really, really well together, or, we like hanging out with one another's friends. We're able to be very like open, very honest in that capacity. Or even if it's somebody where, you've just like started talking to them, you started chatting with them, you started to get to know them, they're really trusting in kind of like everything that has led you to this particular point in time. This is a sturdy enough backing for what they want to say, what they want to do moving forward. This is also giving kind of the vibe of like Two of Cups energy. So this is definitely somebody that doesn't want to waste time in kind of like getting to the point as far as like, okay, I want to go out on a date with you, or, you know, I want to meet up with you. I want to start to explore something beyond just what has been kind of like surface level chit chat or like surface level experiences between the two of us up to this point in time. I'd like to see like, hey, is there something more that can happen here? Because these feelings inside of them, they're deep, they're intense, but it's also the kind of thing that this is something that maybe in the past this person has had a similar sort of experience, deep and intense feelings, and they hesitated, they missed the moment, and they were left sitting with like an energy of regret. They still harbor a sense of like, what if? What would have happened if I'd been more bold and direct? What would have happened if I'd listened to my heart? What would have happened if I trusted in the fact that I had these feelings, had this attraction, and I'd acted upon it? So now there's this experience with you, and there's almost a sense for them to kind of like utilize wisdom from their past mistakes to continue to be very bold, to continue to will themselves to trust in this, to continue to step towards you, to continue to stand in the intensity of this exchange between the two of you. Because everything that they know about you, everything they've experienced with you so far, like it feels really good. It feels like there's a lot of genuine compatibility between the two of you. And so there's almost a sense like, why not? Why wouldn't it work as lovers? Why wouldn't it work if we took our friendship to the next level? Why wouldn't it work if we are, you know, co-workers and we started dating? We also have move forward. Yeah, so this is definitely somebody that wants to start to express more openly to you their intentions, their interest. Depending on your circumstance, that might even be where they start to flirt. They don't just kind of leave it in this place of like, okay, there's this intense eye contact, there's this chemistry, there's so much that's unsaid. This is almost somebody that's like, let me take a step forward in a direction that makes it very unmistakable to you. I like you. I want to get to know you more. Or this is somebody where it's like, maybe if you've been talking or like you met them on a dating website, that they're definitely kind of like, okay, so we've had this experience with one another up to this point in time. We've gotten like the superficial aspects of getting to know you out of the way. Let's take things to the next level. Let's get a little cozy with one another. Let's get a little more intimate with one another. Let's start to scratch beneath the surface rather than kind of like sit in this prolonged energy where fears have the ability to kind of take over and mess up the momentum between the two of you, because they see you as somebody that it's like you're very determined to only kind of like let energies into your life that are sort of like good for your well-being. You're not in a place of giving off like a needy or a desperate vibe at this particular point in time, or like with this person. And so they understand like there's a certain level of certainty within you. You've reached a place like this, even if you haven't like told this person this, it's very obvious in your energy and in your aura. You know what you want and you know what you won't tolerate again. And so this really like holds this person to task. It holds them to a very high standard of there is no space for you to entertain fears or to entertain them for very long. You either need to come correct or, you know, kind of like stand aside so someone else can come towards me, or I can move in the direction of somebody who knows a good thing when they see it. They know what they want. They're going to give me certainty. This is somebody that knows that, like, as far as matters of the heart are concerned, that, you know, you have enough kind of like self-respect that you're also not going to like chase somebody. You're also not going to be the kind of person that like holds space for an inordinate amount of time while somebody kind of like figures out, am I ready for something? Am I able to move past fears? Am I kind of open to the experience? It's like there's a clock that's ticking. It's a very kind of like finite window of time that they recognize exists before they're almost kind of like pushed to the back of the line or before the moment passes. So they may also sense that like your energy, you're very magnetic, you got a very juicy energy, a very juicy aura at this particular point in time. They're almost anticipating, and maybe you've told them like, I'm actively looking for love, I'm looking to date, I'm looking to meet someone, I'm looking to move on from like past heartbreaks. And so there is a sense of like, even if this has come on very suddenly or very unexpectedly, that you're not somebody who's just standing still. You're not standing in place. You have set that intention. I want to connect with someone romantically. You know, and so this is something that you are kind of like giving off this very sort of certain aspect within yourself of like, I'm comfortable kind of like holding space until what I want, what I need, what I deserve comes and finds me, rather than kind of like chasing someone to the point that I can kind of convince them to be ready to accept what I have to offer. So with that in mind, it's like this person is kind of, preparing themselves at this point, like, okay, it's time to open up. It's time to, face the fact that I've caught feelings for you, and they've come on big, and they come on deep, they came on strong, they came on without me even like meaning them for them to. But I don't think it would be in my best interest to kind of just sit on that, try to stuff that down, entertain any sort of fears and doubts. Like, it feels right to express those things out to you, or to start to actively kind of lean into that space so that we can try to kind of get that out in the open together. We also have transform. Yeah, so this is definitely something where the nature of these feelings and how they've come on within this person, the fantasies that they're having, both kind of the spicy thoughts and the things that are a little more PG rated, a little more family friendly, all of that is something that it feels like was very unexpected as far as this point in your connection is concerned. Or if it's like a coworker or a friend, it's kind of like, for a long time I only saw you one way, and then something changed. You wore a certain perfume, you wore a little outfit, we got to know one another. Something changed within me. I became ready. I became open. My heart unlocked and the door opened wide. And there you were, standing right in front of me, the right person at the right time with the right vibrational frequency to match what it is that I was putting out as far as the signal was concerned. So this is somebody that is kind of like looking at this not as something that is like intimidating or scary, but it's the opportunity to transform into like a deeper sort of experience. Again, this is somebody that's looking at the foundation you have with one another, especially if this is somebody that you didn't meet in the capacity of like, hey, I'm looking for love, I'm looking to date, looking for romance, and you found them on a dating website, or you hooked up online, or someone introduced you with like, you guys should go out on a date, you should get to know one another, like in that capacity. If it's just something where they've been part of like your ordinary existence in other sorts of ways, this person is seeing that that's almost like serendipity. Like, it couldn't have been any more perfect, that you've already had this opportunity to sort of have certain experiences or get to know one another on a certain level in kind of like a controlled environment. And so the idea of taking the lid off of this, kind of uncorking what's been bottled up in their heart space and bringing that forth, expressing that forth, letting that pour into the essence of the foundation, the container that you have with one another that represents kind of the context of your interactions, the nature of those interactions, the dynamic shared between the two of you. All of that feels right. It feels appropriate. It feels like something that they almost think is going to lead to something really good or really beautiful, really beneficial for the two of you. And so there's a sense of almost feeling very grateful as well. Almost the kind of thing that if you had come into their life at like an earlier point in time, it's like they wouldn't have been able to appreciate you. There's something where it's almost, again, kind of like a mistake that they made in the past with somebody, where there was like this chemistry, there was this potential, and yet they hesitated. They fed into that energy of fear, and the path to love was then closed for them, and they sat with that sense of regret, something that may have followed them for a very long time, years or even decades. Now they are facing this situation with you, and it's like, okay, here's the opportunity to put my money where my mouth is, to, implement some of that wisdom that I learned through the harsh lesson of the past of what it means to hesitate, what it means to kind of like miss out on an opportunity because you allow that voice of fear to be louder than the intuition of your heart space. So in this situation with you, this person is like, yeah, all the signs are pointing to yes as far as take a step forward. All the signs are pointing to yes as far as like trust in my heart. Trust that these feelings are intense because they are meant to kind of carry me forth to you with a level of determination that's going to catch your attention, that is going to kind of match that sort of determined frequency within you to cultivate and call in and to kind of co-create sort of like frequency or like-minded people that are very certain about like what they want and what they don't want, and that those wants, needs, and desires kind of match up. This is somebody, that is, again, kind of like very emboldened with the steps forward that they need to take. They are interested in becoming something more than just friends, more than just coworkers, more than something where you're just in the early stages of like a talking stage or just getting to know one another. If you've already gone out on some dates, this could even be something that's like, yeah, I'm interested in becoming more exclusive and having those conversations emotions, and starting to really kind of bring that into the mix as far as like what we have experienced with one another up to this point in time. Because I like you, I think that you resonate with what it is I'm looking for. You make me feel very good inside, and therefore very excited about what the future can hold. So those are your messages. I hope that they resonated with you and that you enjoyed the reading. Like or comment to claim these energies. Subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more content that I put out here. Don't forget to hit the bell button to get notifications every time I post a new video. And if you would like to book a personal reading with me, I offer those through my Etsy shop, and there's a link for that below. I hope to see you again in another reading. Please take care and be well.